It's time to rocket your profits. Businesses all around the world are leaving millions of dollars sitting on the table every day. Some of you will be asking, what? Some of you will be asking, how? But others will be saying, oh, no way. Well, it is true. But what I'd like to know is who's asking this question. How can I capture some of those $1 million? Well, it's really quite easy. And our webinar today is about learning 5 simple things that you can do today to start to rocket your profits. Hello, my name's David McLean and I'm the lead consultant at Mentor for Hire. Thank you for attending our webinar today, but before we start, let's just do a few of those housekeeping things. This webinar will last for about 30 minutes. It's focused on hard-hitting, proven ideas that will make a difference in your business. So, to get the maximum benefit from your time investment today, please pop the old phone onto stun, shut down your email, hang on for a punchy, results-focused outcome. In the reminder email that we sent you, it would have included a link for our workbook. Please print that out now so that you can use it for notes and actions. Our T's and C's are on the website, mentorforhire.com.au, and that's regarding copyright and usage, but I'll give you permission to use any of the material today internally inside your business to train your team. Anything else, just drop me a line or give us a call and we can chat. I know that you're very busy and that your time is very valuable, so I thank you for your investment to rocket your profits today. So to make things a little bit more interesting, I'll be providing anyone who stays to the end with a voucher for a free business profitability consultation valued at $1,295. Hang on for that. It's my gift to you. And from time to time, I'll also send out some free content that you can use to make a difference in your business. So, admin stuff over, let's move on. Now, is this webinar for you? Do you have a business or are you looking at starting a business? Yes? Great. Do you want to rocket your profits? Yes? Fantastic. Do you want to learn 5 simple activities that will give you a competitive edge on your competitors? Great. Then this is the right place to be. This webinar is definitely for you. One of my clients implemented just one of these strategies and in 4 weeks increased their sales by over 20%. Imagine what all 5 strategies could do for you. And I'll show you how he did it. I will be providing you with specific examples, but a word of warning. These results are not necessarily the norm. In fact, most people that watches a webinar like this do little to implement anything, and as a result they get little results. I don't want you to be like that. So please, take a chance, be courageous, be daring, and give these things a go. Most of these strategies will take little time to implement and mostly no cost at all, but they can make a huge difference and help you rocket your profits. It's not easy to run a business today. Did you know that the Australian Bureau of Statistics reported that only 50% of small business survived between 2012 and 2015 in Australia? Unfortunately, these results are reflected all around the world. You know, there's a lot to know in running a business. Not only do you need to do the actual job that the business does, but you need to understand business theory, merchandising, customer purchase types, selling techniques, supplier relationships, recruitment, induction and training. You know, maybe you want to run a multi-site operation or you could franchise. What about risk management, finances, marketing, promotions, and even social media? How are your skills in all of these areas? I'd like to ask this question. Do you want to just survive? Some people don't even do that. Or do you want to thrive? If your business fails, not only would you lose your investment of time, energy and money, but a business failure might put all your other assets at risk, such as your family home, and could destroy your credit rating, creating undue stress, worry, and ultimately affect your health and relationships. I know, I've been there. A few years ago, I was hit with a perfect storm. A major client went into receivership owing me nearly $1.5 million. They were the third largest retailer in Australia, employing 26,000 staff. Who could have guessed that? The government cancelled existing worker traineeships, and that was a key part of our business. It reduced our income by 90%. And finally, I was going through a very long and expensive custody battle for the safety of my children. I could have survived any two, but the third pushed me over the edge. I had to start again from scratch. There I was, in my 50s, with 40 years' experience working with a huge range of clients, both large and small, from all around the Pacific Rim, suddenly without a job. I had built my business for over 26 years into a multi-million-dollar turnover, and it had gone overnight. That was when I made the decision to share my knowledge, my learning, and my experience with other businesses that might be facing similar situations, or even those businesses that are ready to take the next step, to mentor them, to teach them the skills they need to rocket their profits. My role at Mentor for Hire has given me that opportunity. I'm here to serve you, to help rocket your profits, to support and mentor you. So, every business owner that I know, that I've ever talked to, would like more sales. How about you? The first of the 5 things that I'm going to talk about today is to ensure that every customer you or your team interacts with, you just ask some simple questions. Let me explain and give you an example. I recently visited a national discount auto parts and accessory shop as part of my research into the effectiveness of add-on sales. Now, this is a very large chain. I use them as an example because I was frustrated by the lack of awareness to the opportunities, and also to demonstrate to smaller businesses the value of just a couple of questions. So this was my plan. I would enter the shop, browse around for about 15 minutes, buy some oil for my car, and leave. Now, when I did this, I observed a number of interesting things. Firstly, the shop was very well stocked. Maybe even overstocked, giving a bit of a cluttered feeling. Secondly, I observed at least 5 staff members busy stacking shelves and merchandising. And finally, in the 15 minutes that I walked around the shop, not one person looked up or acknowledged me, or even asked if I needed some assistance. So, I finally walked over to the cashier and purchased my oil. I made some small talk, giving the young lady who had served me plenty of time to ask questions if she wanted to. She was very efficient in processing my transaction, and she was also very pleasant. I walked out of the shop with my oil, which of course was the reason that I entered the shop to start with. But what do you think the issue was? The issue was that I didn't know what I didn't know. What other things that I might have needed but had not considered or even forgotten about. Now, the oil cost was around about $38. It was a nice sale for the girl, but what had happened if she had just asked me what I was planning to do with the oil? I would have told her that I was going to do an oil change on the car. She then could have said to me, well, what about some rags or a drip tray, a new oil filter, or even a funnel to pour the oil into the motor? Or she could have mentioned that, hey, listen, we've got a recycle bin outside where you can recycle your used oil. And that would call me back into the store after I'd done the oil change. If I bought a new oil filter, a funnel, some rags, a drip tray, it would have easily doubled the sale to over $80. This particular chain store had hundreds of outlets around the country. I had visited several stores and had been treated, or perhaps should I say not greeted, in the same fashion. Imagine hundreds of customers, hundreds of stores, 7 days a week, missing out on $5, $10, $20 on each sale. Let's just use this as an example to see the impact of lost sales opportunities on this particular business. Let's assume the lost sale opportunity was $20 per customer. With 100 customers per day through the store, 290 stores around Australia, open 360 days, working days a year. How good's your maths? This equates to $208.8 million in lost sales for this particular example. Whew, wow. Yeah, look, I hear you. This is just an example, but the numbers are potentially huge, and it makes my point. Note, the interesting thing was that I still needed all of those things, and later I went to 2 different shops to buy them. If she'd only just reminded me, I would have saved considerable time and effort, and she would have doubled her sales. How many times has this happened to you? Yeah, so let's look at a smaller example. Let's work out what the bottom line might mean to you. Let's make some assumptions. 10 customers a day, 6 days a week, $5 in lost opportunity cost. This is $15,600 a year. And it gets better. Because you've already paid all the costs in those sales, in regards to those sales, then that gross profit, or GP, goes straight onto your bottom line as net profit. If you've got a 50% margin, that's $7,800 net, straight onto your bottom line. Now, I'm going to talk about the calculation of markup and margin in a different webinar, but they are 2 very important business calculations, and there are other ones that we'll talk about as well. So, I ask you, what could you do with an extra $7,800? A week's holiday in New Zealand or Bali? Pay some school fees? More marketing for your business to actually improve its performance? What about a new laptop or iPhone? There are many examples of the effectiveness of this strategy. Here's another one. I guess most of you have shopped at some stage in a Shell service station. And I guess that when you approach the counter, you'll see there's a little box or a basket filled with items of confectionery like Mars bars or Tic Tacs or whatever. And I'm guessing that in a number of cases, the customer service officer would say, "Now, would you like a Mars bar today?" Well, there's a story behind this. Years ago, Mars ran a competition in all its Shell shops Australia-wide for the person that could sell the most Mars bars in a month. The prize was an overseas holiday, so it was really cool. Everyone was excited, and the sales of Mars bars, of course, rocketed. There was one young lady, though, her name was Rachel, who outsold the next top 3 people by over double. When the Shell execs turned up to deliver her prize, they asked her how she'd achieved such a fantastic result. Well, she just pointed to this little basket that she'd bought at a local market, and she had it sitting on the console filled with Mars bars. And simply, everyone who came in, she just pointed at the basket and said, "Would you like a Mars bar?" The Shell team raced out and bought 850 of these baskets, put one in each servo, and built a monthly promotional calendar around the simple selling question. It was a case of the right product, in the right location, and asking the right question. And that equates to money in the bank. The bottom line, if Mars Bars runs a promotion in those baskets now, they will sell incrementally, that's over and above their normal sales, an additional 1 million Mars Bars in that month. And by the way, Shell also charges the suppliers to be on that promotional planner. But that's another story, and I'll share that a bit later. I will talk often about the rule of 3. 3 things you can do quickly and easily. When researching this training, I read this article about the 27 steps to effective upselling. What? No way. No. Remember, keep it simple and short. The KISS principle. Keep it simple and short. The rule of 3 is all you need to know. And you can teach your team how to do this. The first thing is simply to upsell the item that they're purchasing. In my situation, that could have been a premium oil. The second thing is to try to sell associated items, like the rags, the funnel, or the filter. And finally, just try to sell an unassociated item, something of a high impulse value that you locate near the point of sale. An example of Mars bars is one of those. It's an item that your customers will buy on impulse. Now, the second action that I'd like to talk about is actually linked to the first. It's monitoring the average customer transaction. So it's looking at the value of what customers spend on average in your business. So the calculation is easy. You simply look at the sales, and this could be monitored over a week, a month, or a year, and you divide it by the number of transactions that occurred in that period of time. So here are some examples. Imagine a deli located in a large shopping mall. Good traffic flow, but the owner is concerned about sales, and rightly so. Here are the assumptions. The average customer spend is $4.50 per customer. The total operating cost, which includes the cost of goods and the operating expenses, is $5 per transaction. So the business is currently losing 50 cents for every transaction they make. So the strategy that we decided to use was to share the figures with the team. Now, there was a team of 5 people, and we set up a new target, a target of $5 per customer transaction, because this was the break-even figure. After a quick training session, we showed the team how to upsell. Now, one of the simple techniques was to increase the weight of the produce ordered. The owner also monitored the sales over the first week. Now, this can work in any type of business. The power of measurement and feedback is greatly underrated. So, back to our example. To help motivate the team, the owner offered 2 free movie tickets to everyone who achieved the $5 per transaction target. The owner provided daily feedback and showed the results on a whiteboard in the back office. The technique of upsell was simple, and here's a couple of examples. When Mrs. Brown asked for 500 grams of sausage, you put on 550 grams on the scale and asked her if that was okay. Most people would say yes, and immediately you've got a 10% increase in sales. Or, if you've got a special running, it could be something like, Mrs. Brown, we have some Swiss cheese on special this week. Here, try a taste. Now, shall I add some to your order? Guess what? By the end of the first week, all the team had achieved an average sale of $5. This meant that the business has increased its sales by 11% and was now at break-even. The owner was very happy, so he thought he'd try it again. This time he set a target of $5.50 and offered the prize again. It took a little bit longer this time, but within 4 weeks from the start of the process, everyone was achieving the $5.50 on average for every sale, and for the cost of a few movie tickets. The business had increased their sales by 22% and moved from a position of a loss to a position of profit, thus saving the business. Now, this was an actual example of a deli that I helped save in a large regional city in Queensland. This is, of course, a retail example, but there are many more examples of different businesses that could have a similar effect. A mower round could offer spraying for weeds. The pool man could replace pipes on the Crawley. The accountant could suggest regular monthly reports, or a solicitor could invite the customers in for a regular review of wills and other such important documents. Moving on to the next point. It's learning or training. In all of the examples I've mentioned above, one aspect that will improve the performance of all of these strategies is training your team. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting that you have to go out and pay a fortune to hire a corporate trainer, although I'd be happy to help you if that was okay. A simple stand-up meeting for a few minutes can make all the difference, or even sharing a cup of coffee. Try to remove distractions so you can get your message across. And remember to add the why. Why are we doing this? What is the outcome we hope to achieve? And the what's in it for them. It doesn't need to be prizes or money. It might be job security, status, recognition. In the deli example, the business owner just needed to explain why, and then share a couple of strategies of how and when to upsell. Remember, just use the rule of 3. It's all you need. Ask the team for their own examples and experiences. Share them between the members. But remember to support the changes of behaviour by catching your team doing it well. If Mary or John are asking the questions, the upsell questions, then reward them with your congratulations, perhaps a high five, or use them as an example for the rest of the team. Now, the next one, suppliers. I can give you so many examples of using suppliers to make a difference. So without increasing sales or decreasing operating costs, if you can negotiate a better deal with your suppliers, then you can boost your profits. I work with two similar businesses in the same shopping centre. They were takeaway food shops. Both sell Coke and both use the same bank. One store paid 1.5% transaction fee and the other 1.2%. A quick discussion at the bank saw the first business lowering the fees and adding profit to their bottom line. And the same with drinks. The first shop had negotiated a really good deal with Coke, and they had a promotion supporting a meal deal. Often, you may not be able to get better prices on the goods, but sometimes suppliers can provide extra stock, e.g. toss in a few extra cartons with the next order. The outcome is to lower the cost of goods, and you'll be able to then offer a better deal to your customers and increase your gross profit. A friend of mine had 15 service stations over in Perth, and he sold a 1 foot square on his counter space to a supplier for $15,000 a year. That's $15,000 straight onto the bottom line. Another friend had an annual conference which included a supplier fair. He charged the suppliers to attend, and his store managers placed orders. The income from the fair covered the total cost of the 3-day residential conference. Personally, I had a great experience. When I moved into a new building in Port Hedland with my marine business, I negotiated with Mercury to sign right the front of the building at no cost. It saved me thousands. These are just a few examples, but my suggestion is to draw up a promotional calendar and offer your main supplier spots and ask them what they'll do for those spots. Finally, communicating with your customers or clients. Build yourself a database of your customers. For some businesses, this is easy. For others, it's a little bit more work. Here's some examples. A birthday club. I remember years ago, I started using an insurance agent. His name was Paul. Every year, he would call me to say, "Hey David, it's time to renew your insurance." And he would arrange a meeting. He'd always turn up immaculately dressed and go through my policies. And every year I renewed with him, I was always happy with the outcome. He even sent me a birthday card and a Christmas card with a handwritten note on it. He always used this beautiful fountain pen, and by writing the personal message, it made me feel special. It showed that he really cared. Paul retired and sold his practice to another fellow. I did never get a call from this guy. He did never come and see me, and the card stopped too. Guess what? I'm no longer with him. What I discovered was that he was getting significant commission from me every year for the super that I was paying, for doing absolutely nothing. Well, that soon ended, and I wonder how many other customers he lost as well. So, build your list and use it. Regular communication adds value, and it's a fantastic way to keep in front of the customer or the client. The current trend in social media marketing is about content or educational marketing. Provide loads of value and build that relationship with your customer. Okay, so let's summarize. First point, ask the upsell question. Remember the rule of 3. Second point, focus on simple KPIs, like the average value per sale. But always remember to support your team with feedback and encouragement. Third point, learning. Teach, coach, and support your team. Remember the principle of KISS. Keep it short and simple. The fourth point was suppliers. Involve your suppliers and seek their support. You'll be surprised at what support is available. And finally, communication. Communicate with your customers. Build that birthday list. Build that Christmas card list. Keep in front of your customers with quality information and content. Now, if you'd like to learn more about taking your business to the next level, I'm making a very special offer. Statistically, unfortunately, 44 businesses shut their doors every day in Australia. 44 businesses. I have a goal of saving 500 businesses from this fate. So I make this very special offer for you. and it's valued at $1,295. I'm offering a free, up to 2 hours long, business profit consultation. At the end of the consultation, I'll produce a detailed report and action plan to start you working towards rocketing your profits and achieving your profit goal. The report will include a number of things. We'll look at sales and marketing and merchandising and layout if it's applicable in a retail environment. We'll look at financial reporting. We'll look at those supplier arrangements. We'll look at things like shrinkage and losses. We'll look at funding, and we'll also look at how you can improve your profitability. We'll look at processes like business planning and business systems, how you deal with safety and due diligence, how you recruit the right people to drive your business and increase your profits. All of these key aspects of your business can add profit to your bottom line. Now, I do have an apology, and I'm so sorry, but because of the nature of this offer, we must limit this to the first 30 businesses that book a meeting. If you want to be one of these lucky businesses, then please just click below to book your session. If there are no suitable times, then send me an email, info@mentorforhire.com.au, and we can arrange something. So thank you for participating in the seminar today. May your business be full of customers and your cash registers ringing loud and long. This is David McLean, the lead consultant for Mentor for Hire.